Hello and welcome to Better Business Podcast. My name's Alexei, and it's been a while since my last podcast. I've been quite busy. I've been away in Bali, and just recently we had this cyclone in Brisbane, Cyclone Alfred. I must say that it was quite an ordeal based on the fact that it's probably been a lot lighter than expected, but at the same time, I think that everyone's done a great job preparing. I have never seen the streets so clean and people, so prepared for a cyclone. And luckily, we actually had, obviously a lot of rain and wind, but there hasn't been any major damage. Some people are obviously out of power and internet, but the local councils are working really well, and the SES teams are doing really good in terms of clearing up trees and everything. They say it's a record of power outages in Queensland. In fact, that's probably like 300,000 households that they were talking about, which is obviously massive. But I think that in a matter of 2 days, they've been able to address quite a lot of them. So well done, and it's great to know that whenever there's an announcement and people are well informed about a problem, people treat it seriously and obviously prepare quite well for the whole thing. Um, if it wasn't for the tropical cyclone to potentially downgrading to category one, and places like the Stradbroke Island stopping this whole thing, which I think really coped it quite bad. I reckon Brisbane would have been, well and truly destroyed. And look, there's obviously fallen power lines and trees and all the other debris. And obviously some floods still happening, but I think we've been very, very lucky. Anyway, what I wanted to touch on today is, it's good to be informed about events and obviously prepare for them. But what I see with small businesses a lot of the time is that people just get into the routine of doing their day-to-day activities without planning for anything serious. And unless there's obviously an announcement of some sort, they are not able to adapt easily enough. And most of the time, people are just so busy that they have no way of adapting their business. So how future proof is your business, or how prone is your business to things like natural disasters or weather impacts or economic changes is really the question. I find that when it comes to small businesses, yes, we're all busy, we all find hard to find the right staff. We sort of tend to get into the operations, but should we be working more on the business as opposed to in it is really the question. And is your business set up like that to start with? I find that majority of businesses are solo operators where, in reality, they're just self-employed. They've created themselves a job. They get paid quite well, but if they take a break, everything stops. That sounds familiar? Well, if that's the case, I think it's really important to understand that the goal of any business is to actually produce wealth, to produce a revenue which will allow you to not only pay your bills and pay your staff, but also grow and allow you to grow your finances. A lot of people talk about the whole independence in terms of freedom, time and so on. But only very few business owners are actually able to win freedom in terms of actually having time to themselves. A lot of the time is actually consumed by the business at erratic times and weekends. And I can speak for myself. A lot of the time, in the last 20 years that I've been in business or trying various avenues, I could see that I'd be spending the weekends or nights, doing something, and it sort of feels like you've got all the control in the world. But in reality, there's better ways to spend your time, and there's more structured ways to address things. And I've learned about things like time management. I've learned about things like extra resources. I've learned about things like processes and tools and systems and procedures. But at the end of the day, I think it comes down to reviewing these things on time, because sometimes you feel sort of things are under control, and then life throws another boomerang at you. Sounds familiar? Well, if that's the case, I think you need to be looking at something that allows you to grow your business beyond where you are right now. And look, if you're happy, that's great. I really have a lot of respect for people that love what they do and enjoy helping people out or delivering a service or selling a particular product. Great, but I think that stagnation is probably the worst thing that you can see in your business, and that's the one thing that really kills it over time. Is there a succession plan? There's a lot of big questions to be asked. And if you think that the business is all about you, well, I think once you decide to stop, the business will stop as well. And I don't think that's a true legacy for a business either. So looking at this Cyclone Alfred, I think it's important to see that being well informed and well prepared allows you to pull through something. And look, we're lucky that it's not as severe, like I said, but if it would have been more severe, I still think that the consequences would have been as bad because everyone was well and truly on high alert and, basically following all the instructions. So, what are the instructions for your business? How can you be a lot more effective with what you've got? How can you get more revenue out of the whole thing? Well, first of all, I think that it's important to understand your customer, review your customer. And if you're stuck on one particular persona, I think you need to diversify that. If you follow any people like Gary Vee or Alex Hormozy, they'll tell you that you need to have a few personas around your business. So if your audience consists of one and only one customer profile, then you must be in either a super niche business or potentially you are not really exploring anything else. I think you need to be exploring beyond that point. The other thing I think is you need to have a system to be able to communicate with your contacts, anyone in your database in order to keep educating them about what you do and where you are right now. And look, this may sound silly, but at the end of the day, if you are able to create awareness around any changes in your business or any new products or any substantial things that happen, I think that will create more revenue based on the fact that people will be able to follow that. One thing that people like is the experience. If you run a business, I don't know, like let's say like a coffee shop, and you create some sort of an event that creates an experience, people love that. It's not just about getting a coffee; it's about being a part of something. If you're doing a fundraiser, that could really work as well. If you are in a business that potentially delivers a service that let's say things like building services or renovation services and stuff, I think that a lot of people want to be a part of that change. You want to be able to celebrate that. So if you're able to add an experience to some degree to that, and it doesn't necessarily mean inviting people to your workplace. It could be about creating something like, hey, there's a business anniversary, or there's something that you guys are supporting, and let's do it at a local RSL or something like that. You will get a lot more people coming through, which will create more awareness, which will create more trust, and that will create more revenue through people interacting with your business. Look, I think if you think about if you think about wealth, the two things that really define wealth are risk. You got to take risks and you got to do something different that potentially may or may not work. And I think you also got to be patient as well. Patience is the one thing that creates an outcome based on the fact that you invest and wait for it. Like the whole analogy with wealth is really around planting something, planting a seed and waiting for that seed to grow. It may be destroyed by the weather, it may be destroyed by something else, but if it grows, you will get a lot more out of it. And I think if you get that analogy and process everything I've said about the cyclone, I highly recommend that you take that risk and evaluate all the options around your business and what you can do. Invest in people, invest in systems, invest in new processes, but most importantly, invest in education, because I think that's the one thing that will definitely pay off. And even if you learn something that you're not able to apply, believe me, the exposure to people, the exposure to extra opportunities will definitely go far, and they'll take you a long, long way. Anyway, this is Better Business Podcast. I thought I'd just touch base and share my thoughts. We've been through a lot. The Google side of things hasn't really been that forgiving either. They've been slashing Google reviews right, left, and center about 3 or 4 weeks ago. But luckily, that's all back on track. If you're still struggling with that, please feel free to reach out. We've been able to get in contact with a couple of the reps that are, super good and super helpful, and we've been able to help our clients. And across the last 4 weeks, which I think is how long it's been since my last episode, there's been a lot happening. But all I can say, guys, is try to be wise when it comes to business. Try to invest in knowledge, and don't be afraid to take a risk in order to become wealthier as a result of your business, because your business is a vehicle. It's not an organism, or it can be, but I think it is a vehicle, and it really depends on how you treat that particular vehicle in terms of where you want that to take you. Anyway, my name is Alexei. This is Better Business Podcast. I look forward to speaking to you soon.